Michael, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm excited to be here, man.
Oh yeah, man! I was on your podcast there in Vegas. What, back in February, March?
Yeah.
I looked it up. Yeah. It was on. Like I walked in there planning on like, okay, let's book an hour, and then I walk out 2.5 hours later. I'm like, wow, that was actually a really good conversation.
Yeah, but I like to do. I don't have. I'm not as famous as some people. I don't have the best setups, whatever. But
That was a good setup, man.
One skill set I do have. One superpower is I can out research everybody.
Yeah.
And you notice I watched like 40 hours of your content before we did the interview.
Yeah.
I just did Casey Zander last week, and I did the. I will tell you right now, I have the best interview anyone's ever done of Ty Lopez.
Yeah.
Anyone's ever done of Dan Bilzerian. Anyone's ever done of David Buss. Anyone's ever done of Rollo Tomasi. Anyone's ever done of Justin Wall. Because I do so much. I try to do as much research as I can. And with you. Yeah. Because of what I do for a living now, and because the sales team is like the 400 horsepower engine in the sports car. The business is the sports car. Yeah. The sales team is that engine.
Yeah, of course.
And because it's the most complicated device in the car, and it requires the most attention and the most fine tuning.
Yeah.
Like learning from you and learning from reading Jordan Belfort stuff, learning from Cole Gordon, learning from all kinds of Taylor Welch, learning guys like that, and I've just become fascinated with this whole understanding of it. Some things I actually already knew, but the actual conversion, the way you guys do it, is absolutely. I've become obsessed with Russell Brunson, Alex Hormozi, Oren Klaff, and in the last 5 years, just from doing this. And the other thing that's really cool is that I get to meet them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you've done the same thing. You become friends with them.
Cole lives like 2 blocks from
Cole lives next door. Like becoming friends with Brad Lee. One of my favorite authors is Rollo Tomasi, and I host a show with him. Like that part is really awesome. Seeing, I watch a lot of Wes Watson, and now Wes is a good buddy of mine. Like that kind of stuff has also been really cool. But that's the networking that you were referring to before.
No, and I love that. So I've had Tyler on the Taylor Welch on the podcast in the early days. Cole lives like literally a block or two down here, so we have dinner every 3 or 4 months. I literally almost ran over him the other day. He was walking out of a gas station in the middle of the court, and I like drove by, and I'm like, there's this guy sitting on his cell phone. Like, bro, you were 2 feet away. Like, I almost plowed you down. Like, that would not be good on the news. Like, Jay Miner takes out a competitor, Cole Gordon sits.
Because that's how they would pay. That's how they would paint it. It's like
you took out your competitor.
You got rid of him.
Yeah, you got rid of him.
I stay at Cole's house when I'm here sometimes.
Dude, he's right there, man. Okay, so let's yes, we're gonna have a good time here. So let's start here. Like, what is exactly, just so the audience knows, because our audience is salespeople, entrepreneurs, business owners, VPs, stuff like that. What exactly is Men of Action, and whom did you start it for besides just men?
Okay, so Men of Action is so I've been coaching since 2008, in some form of self-help or another for zero money. I did it. I would go up on stage at different self-help seminars. I was an officer in the U.S. military at the time. I would get flown out to speak at different places or whatever. I've been doing that since 2008. 2019, I was a portfolio manager at a fund, and in 2019, after the pandemic happened, and then later on the invasion of Ukraine, which also caused commodity prices to fall, I worked at, like I said, I worked in commodities, trading commodities for a fund, and I realized I don't want to do this for a living anymore. Like, this is really difficult, and I've been doing this other thing for free for 11 years. So at this point, it's been 16 years I've been doing it, and it was one of these situations where first off, I love Tony Robbins, but I'd met too many people who had gone to Tony Robbins seminars, cried, hugged their friend at the end of the seminar, said that their life had changed, and then went back to their fucking mom's basement and they stayed fat and dumb. And I was like, bro, I will never let that happen. We have an app. You know how you have an avatar for a certain type of client? Sure. Our avatar is called Doug. Doug is the guy who literally he can quote everything Ty Lopez has ever said. He knows everything Bradley's ever said. He can quote all of the stuff, and the guy doesn't even know how to turn a fucking camera.
Doesn't take action.
He doesn't take any action. So I said jokingly one time, I was doing a Zoom call, had like 100 guys on there, and I said, if I ever start a course, I'm going to call it Men of Action, because all I care about is the action. Everyone else can handle the theory. This course is going to be about getting your ass kicked and learning the lessons. And because I'm a former U.S. military officer and I gravitate towards the MTIs, the military training instructors, I like that type of leadership. I gravitate like Jocko Willink, that kind of thing. I was like, no one in the dating space is doing the Jocko Willink leadership thing. No one, right? And then no one in the self-help space is really doing the leadership thing other than him, and none of them are doing the dating thing. So you probably met a bunch of guys in this space who are all of a sudden out of nowhere, in their 20s, learned how to code, crushed it with Amazon FBA, figured out how to build a sales, whatever, and they're doing $500,000 a month.
Sure.
But these guys don't know how to like date out of they couldn't date their way out of a fucking paper bag.
Confidence, right?
If you have if you're really good with money and you don't know anything about women, you're a target.
Right.
You're a target.
Right.
If all you understand is women and you're not good at money, we're talking about the bartender who keeps sleeping on people's couches.
Yeah. And it's not going anywhere in his life.
It's not going anywhere in his life, right? You're the bad boy. Like I was like, man, what if we could take these different areas? So for me, it's networking, communication, leadership, and dating. Those are the 4 main areas. We do also go over like health and fitness, style, but those are the 4 main ones. Yeah. And so what I say is, if you can't replace your job, your girl, and your social circle in 15 minutes, you don't have enough abundance.
Valid.
I talk about local celebrity. So when you and I were growing up, you're 40 now, right?
Yeah, I'm in my 40s. I'm the same age as you, like 46, 47.
Yeah, 46, right. So when I was growing up, you were either Tom Cruise level famous, or you were the janitor and no one knew who you were. And there was no mid-tier level of fame. Maybe the mayor. Maybe the guy with the billboard. But
no social media.
Part, there was no social media, so there's no mid-tier level of fame. When social media came out, just like someone I really admire, Patrick Bet-David, right? Yeah. How famous is Patrick Bet-David in comparison to The Rock? He's famous, but he's not as famous as The Rock.
He's like a tier 2 down.
Yeah, so let's say PBD is a 7, right? Yeah. And then Dan Bilzerian is like a 7 or a 6, or like we can go down these different places. Aiden Ross or Kai Cenat or Speed, one of these guys. There's like these different levels of fame. Then there's the IG influencer female girl with 2 million followers. There's these different levels of fame. Well, one thing I discovered is, what if you could be the guy in your city that every big business owner knew?
Yeah.
Every time you went to a 5-star restaurant, the chef came out to greet you. Okay. Every pretty girl in the city knew your face.
Right.
You don't have to be a movie star to get that to happen. Yeah. And I know because I have 2,000 clients, and they've been able to achieve this mid-tier level of fame, or what we like to call local celebrity.
Yeah, local celebrity in your city or area. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So like now, like there's no. Not only is there no nightclub in Miami, Los Angeles, Scottsdale, or Dallas that I can't just walk into. There's no nightclub that I can't get you into because I know Dave Grutman and Jason Strauss, the guys who owns these nightlife groups. Right. And the thing that I'm trying to explain to people is like having this access is unbelievable as far as networking. Yeah. And that's what I kind of teach people is this like local celebrity thing. How do you get backstage at the 10X conference? How is it that you're on stage for Rufus Du Sol? I don't want to go to Burning Man and sit with everybody else. I want to be on stage with Elon Musk. How do I do that? Yeah. Because I know the thought is, no, you just pay for that. It's not. Yeah. There's a bunch of people who kind of know how to network and climb that ladder. And what I teach is the language of networking. So for instance, for high status men generally, and really, really sharp female entrepreneurs, it's generally the language of problem solving.
Okay. Yeah.
When you and I are going to go to dinner later.
Sure.
If we go to dinner, I promise you, without even thinking about it, you and I are going to discuss ways to solve each other's problems.
Sure.
When I'm with Ty, it's like this. When I'm with Bilzerian, it's like this. Whenever I'm with Brad Lee, it's like this. Whenever I'm with Wes Watson, whoever, Ryan Stoom, whenever I'm with them, it's just problem solving. That's all we do.
That's all we talk about. That's how we think.
But here's the thing. Women will, a lot of times if you're in a relationship, they want you to sit and listen. Yeah. Like Ryan Stewman doesn't want me to sit and listen. He wants to solve a fucking problem. And like that's how it is with these high performing men. We want to solve problems. Yeah. So the language we speak is always solving problems for other people. Okay. The other thing that I do, and this is just a cheat code that I found that works, and this is going to be controversial for probably some of your followers and your listeners, is that whenever I would go to Ty Lopez's events or whoever's events, I would show up with 5 girls. Okay. And these girls were like they own their own business.
You're in the dating, coaching world. That would make sense. You want to be with show men how to do that.
But no, it's also because if you go to the self help things, there's no girls there. There's hardly any women. So I would show up with 5, 6, 7 girls, and like you'd see it would get quiet. I go to Dan Fleischman's events, and I would show up with like 5 or 6. Dan always has girls at his events, but like you understand. And I would do that. And what I found is that when I showed up to places with women, and they don't have to be attractive, they can be super successful women, whatever. Yeah. But when I did that, it made the ratio more even, but everyone wanted to know who I was.
It raises your status.
It does. It definitely can. It definitely can.
It's kind of like those Batman movies where Bruce Wayne walks in with like the girls on his arms, walk there, but it's like, who's that?
Yeah, exactly. So the last module in Men of Action is called "Who the Fuck is that guy?" That's actually the name of the module at the very end, right?
Okay.
So we want to get you to that place. So we go over it's high status networking, and then we go over leadership, entrepreneurship. Okay. We go over mindset.
Yeah.
Then we go over evolutionary psychology. We go over event planning. We go over critical thinking, winning mindset, and finance. Those are the.
Now I want to talk to